Welcome to another rendition of Magick La Croix Speaks. And I have a special guest today who I'm going to be asking some questions. A very good friend of mine and occultist, Mr. Shango Rei.
What is going on, people? Real deal right here. Proud to make, happy to make actually this interview here. We've been trying for a minute, and Magic said it best. We got live, so I'm just happy to be here. Andre,
Right.
you.
Okay. How's the magical life for you today?
Oh, it's nonstop steady. Nonstop steady. Whether you're doing something for somebody else or whether you're always doing something for yourself. You're always striving and progressing, or at least you should be, I think. So
I totally agree. Totally agree with that. So how long have you been in the craft?
You see, I count hypnosis as a form of magic too. And for a while I didn't, because most magic is also designed, especially ritual work, to influence, number one and first and foremost, the mind of the practitioner. So I was like, for a while, I was like, okay, hypnosis and then magic. I'm like, it's very interrelated. So I'd have to say probably active since 2005. Like really active, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty long time. That's quite impressive. So you've been doing hypnosis for that long, or?
No, well, yeah, I mean hypnosis, but then afterwards started ritual magic in about like 2007. Started really getting into it, but I still had them old religious connotations or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so I experienced my turbulence going through that, where I had to shed that bullshit first before my shit really, started taking effect.
Gotcha.
I know you're using the word Catholics. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I've told somebody recently that deprogramming is not going to happen overnight, because they was like, oh, I tried this, I tried that, and I said, look, it takes years, because you've been embedded with so much bullshit for years. It is a long process. You know what I'm saying?
It can be, definitely. It can be. Unless you have sometimes you have moments of catharsis where shit just evaporates like water on a hot sidewalk. You know what I mean? There are instances like that, but some things that are really deeply embedded, especially something especially like these religious beliefs, which are deeply embedded, and they're embedded by figures in your life that mean the most to you. So as a child, you're looking at your like mom or something. You're like, well, shit, she's telling me this. It has to be true. So that goes down to like the deepest level into your DNA and all that bullshit. So it can be tricky. and they don't want to go easily a lot of times either. You know what I'm saying? They want to live. They need you to live. So,
Exactly. And when I first got into the darker arts, so to speak, the ATRs, Goetia and all that, it took so much work to actually deprogram myself and not think on like a Catholic level. You see what I'm saying? The concept of heaven and hell and all that bullshit we were taught as youngins,
to get away from that whole feeling like you're doing something wrong, but it's like, but it feels so good. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
Okay. So what's your specialty? What would you consider your magical specialty?
Wow, that's a good question. I would have to say that my specialty is probably more along the lines of mental magic. Like I said, for me personally, anything I do to convince my own mind first and foremost, because no matter how many herbs, candles, how many sheep I slaughter, just kidding, people, I don't slaughter sheep, but and the only chicken heads and shit I cut off is not going to work if I don't get my subconscious mind behind me. You know what I'm saying? So I would have to say mental magic, being that especially the first thing that I started doing was hypnosis. And that was like also banged over my head that you're going to open your mind and demons are going to get in you and all this other shit. So that was, as I started doing that, I had friction from those old beliefs too. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's like the first. So I would have to say that's my specialty too. You know?
Okay. Okay. And I think a lot of people who are trying to get into this kind of downplay that part of it. Like, it's not really important to a lot of people. So how would you describe mental magic? Give any examples?
Yes, I can actually. Mental magic, to me, is also another form of alchemy. Okay, because what we're dealing with is belief structures and things of that nature. Those are the things that are going to either give you the green light to do something, or they're going to stop you outside. No matter how much action you take, if you don't have these your beliefs and everything in line, you're going to meet that ceiling. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hit that ceiling, and it's just going to seem like life is going to seem to be like you just can't do it. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, it's also going within and changing those beliefs, or, you know, perhaps even installing new beliefs that you want to have, that you want to know about yourself. So I guess you could say it's like another form of self transformation as well, you know. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, I hope that
Excellent.
wasn't too general, by the way. So
No, 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 no. Not at all. I knew beforehand that you practice mental magic, which is the reason I asked. um, okay, great answer. Great answer. How do you feel about those who say you can't work with spirits without initiation? How do you feel about that?
you trying to start some shit, huh? I love it, brother. I love you. For me, I could just say it like this. I'm gonna say it like in the most politically correct, but yet raw as Shango answer that I can. For me, in my reality, that's complete and utter bullshit. Because I have worked with many spirits from different pantheons, and I am not initiated in nan one of them. So if I had to go by my own life, my own experience, I would have to say that my experience calls bullshit. You know what I mean? Now, that's just me. Who actually believes that, then you better get initiated, or
Okay.
else, you know. So I mean, that's pretty, once again, comes down to beliefs again too. You know, there's some people
Right.
who will argue, you know, oh no, this and that, but I mean, it comes down to beliefs, you know.
Uh,
What you
Absolutely. And me and you've had this extensive conversation quite a few times. So um, I always say though, just expounding on what you said, that initiation may be good for beginners who have no foundation in anything else.
Absolutely.
I don't knock it, but a lot of the powerful people that I know who are non-initiates
Mhm.
work with spirits and get fantastic results.
That's my point. Yeah. No, but that's actually a good point, especially if you just starting off and you are filled to the brim with self-doubt about your ability to do any of this shit. Sometimes it is good to have somebody who um water over your head or do whatever and make you feel like, oh, I'm initiated now. Oh, you know, so if that's what it takes to get you and your personal beliefs and everything behind you so you can move forward, then all power to you, you know.
Okay. Okay. um, Explain your name, please.
Shango Rei. Okay. Basically, I felt a lot of I seen a lot of elements of myself in the Orisha Shango, which is the god of thunder and blah blah blah. I'm not going to go too much into all that. They can look that up if they want to. Wikipedia is your friend, I guess, too. Also, but yeah. So in before, as I started kind of getting into the business aspect of this, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like another also personality of mine. So there's my government name, and then there's, you know, almost who I become. Now they're pretty much syncretized though. So it's not like, you know how I'm gonna give you an example. You know how magicians a lot of times will say we put on robes and everything like that, because that's another way of telling ourselves that we're stepping out of our normal life to do something. You know what I mean? Whether that's casting a circle, you know, whatever. But now, like I said, in some weird way, it's gotten syncretized where I'm myself, but then that's also another version of myself. So like I'm just all over. I don't have to do the whole robe thing and stuff like that. Not that I'm against it, because I think that's actually pretty cool. And I'm still like a big kid myself, and I love to engage my imagination and commit to the bit, as they say. You know what I mean? And get into it when you're going to do a ritual or something. Like, get into it. Don't just mechanically do it or mechanically say the word. Like, get into it here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So
Okay.
that's pretty much
Yeah, great answer. Great answer. Get into it. Y'all heard them, y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Get into it.
Commit to the bit, people. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Speaking of that, how important it may be important to some people, but do you think it's important to embrace? I know you just said that, but do you embrace the mythologies like the Orishas, the Loa, the Nikisi?
I think so. Like for me, yes, I know that these are aspects of myself. Okay, there's one side of me that knows that. Like I mean, because how else would I be experiencing them if there was no me to experience them? You know what I mean? Like the whole observer effect thing, right? But I do find it's almost like it's like another version of being a kid again. Like I get to play again. Like I look at it like play almost, even if it's something I'm doing something serious, but I get to put my imagination into it. And, you know, there's a lot of psychological studies that have shown that people who believe in something outside of themselves, it tends to help them and assist them. So you might be doing something that you've experienced maybe failure with or whatever, and you have your own doubts about you yourself as a personality being able to do something. But if you can rely on this outside force to assist you, then it helps you to, you know, once again, just fully put your heart into that knowledge that, hey, this is going to happen. You know what I mean? Or I'm making this happen right now or something. And to me, I just enjoy that. I love it. You know, I used to play when I was a kid. I mean, we all played as kids. You know, I turned a stick into a rifle, and you couldn't tell me this wasn't a rifle. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the same thing now. Just we're using it for different purposes, and we, you know, are monetizing it too. So you know, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, but to me, it all comes down to that. Like you gotta. What it was even the Bible says that shit. Come as a child. What does a child do? They live in their imagination. You know, so I Magi Nation. I mean, that says it all, in my opinion.
Right, right. And wise words, brother, wise words, because I remember a lecture that I was looking at. Bobby Hemmett said pretty much exactly what you said. He said that, you know, you got to become a kid again. Yeah. You know, embrace the mythologies. I've been linked with Ogun and Obatala and Legba. So I was like, okay. And then when people tell me that, I gotta, you know, refresh my memory on what these attributes of these deities are. So totally agree with that. Even if it's like one of the, you know, the Neteru, the Egyptian gods, you can do that, embrace them, and, you know, play with it, just like you said.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like we're not taking it serious, people, when we say play. It's just our attitude is one of, you know, if you think about number one, when you're using your imagination, you're relaxed. A lot of times there's a feeling of wonderment, like anything can happen. You know what I mean? And we want to enter that realm of all possibilities whenever we're doing something. You know, we want to get out of the regular beta state of mind. The beta state of mind, people, by the way, is the level of mind that you're listening and watching this video when you're paying bills, when you're doing shit that you don't want to do, or you're just having a conversation, whatever. That's the beta state. So that's like your conscious mind. And That's like a very, very small piece of you. You're so much more. So when you're able to get into your imagination, enter into the gates, of like I said, anything is possible, where anything can happen, and you could become anything and do anything, just like when you was a kid and you would be playing and shit, So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for schooling them on that. There's some times where I will go into I use my binaural beats sometimes during ritual and go into a delta state.
Yeah.
And that's the deep meditation state.
Yep.
And magic will just be like off the chain after that. But I think we have a question. Do you feel like you can be attracted to a deity and signs are around you?
I would have to say so, yeah. That's a clear cut. That's also, a lot of times, I mean, there's a reason why you're attracted to it in the first place. If there was no attraction there, then there would be not, like, there's plenty of gods that I can give a shit about, and then there's those who I have a lot more interest in, so.
Right. Yeah. When I first started with the voodoo deities, the Loa,
Yes, sir.
I got to build a relationship with Papa Legba. Not asking for anything, but just to, show me signs. And I did this for at least 2 months before I even worked with any other deity. And one day I sat there and just talked. I got a Govi of I've shown this before. It's a ceramic plate, a big ceramic plate with his Veve.
I remember that video. I remember that video.
Wow. And I ended up drunk. I ended up fucked up. But I could hear him, this wise old man, laughing. And and then once I came sober again, I looked up his attributes and it was like, yeah, okay, that's what he does. He's a trickster spirit. So yeah, let me see something here.
And I want to say the universe actually used Mr. Magick La Croix. I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
But universe used Mr. Magick La Croix because I remember a long time ago, years ago, you was doing readings or something like that, and I was like, yeah, okay. And you just kind of like, you was like, you need to check out hoodoo. And I was reintroduced to hoodoo, and then everything, I had like this total recall with hoodoo, where it's like, yes, I'm kind of technically learning shit, but in a way I'm not learning it because it's actually coming from the inside of me. Like, shit was just activating. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, like I said, a total recall. And I was just like, wow, god damn, Magic. All right. You know what I mean? And then I was just like a fish to water. Like, I mean, but I really, even with the feelings of, like, to me, I believe you should take things and start to evolve them. Like, I love the tradition of hoodoo and how it started and all of that stuff. But we can't just stay there at the same time. I have an affinity for it. And that's how I know I've dealt with it prior go rounds. This ain't my first go round. This ain't my first rodeo. You know what I'm saying? So I know I've had plenty of experience with it. So that may also be the case for some of you out there. Some of these people out there, if you're really attracted to something, there's a reason for it. You might have had other dealings with it, either on another dimension, another plane, or another lifetime. You might have been whatever. And now it's like you're coming full circle again and finish some business. So there's a reason why you're attracted to what you're attracted to. There's no accidents. So
I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. How powerful, speaking of hoodoo, how powerful is hoodoo? Do you think?
I love, you know what? To me, hoodoo is the fucking first chaos magic, because it was basically like, what I love so much about it was it's a magical toolbox. It's not a religious system. It's basically just a toolbox to use as the user sees fit. There's no moralism. There's none of that shit. That's up to the individual, and it's extremely powerful. So I mean, it's actually, what is it? Folk. It's as they say. I hate using this damn term. African American folk magic. By the ancestors that were here earlier. And what I love about it is the resilience. They had to work magic with littlest shit, and it's, to me, in my opinion, is some of the most powerful, because of that spirit of resilience and resourcefulness. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, yeah, blows my mind.
Right. I agree. Sometimes I'm thinking of what to use for a client, and I will just do something that's hoodoo, and it works it's just powerful like that. And like you said, African American folk, I hate that damn term.
I hate that goddamn
I can't stand it.
Bullshit.
I hate it.
We could do a whole other thing on etymology and all these goddamn terms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so,
yeah, no.
Divination is important before you do any magical work. You agree with this?
I do personally. I do personally agree.
Okay.
I think it's important to get a bigger perspective before you just step into some shit. Because who knows what the ramifications might be. So, I think it is important. A wise person would. A fool's just gonna run into some shit. You know what I mean? Like a loose cannon type. That's not my style. Right. So yeah, I agree totally.
Yeah, you had to be one of the most accurate people that I know.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Well, thank you.
Use playing cards for divination, for tarot. This is something that you implement on your channel all the time. Can you?
All the time, yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, absolutely. For whatever reason, I was drawn to playing cards, not tarot cards. Although I was drawn to them Orisha cards that you use. Those shits was fire. I forgot the name of them, but those are fire.
New Orleans Voodoo Tarot deck.
Tarot, yes, excellent, beautiful. But yeah, I collect playing cards now. One of my favorite characters with X-Men was, of course, Gambit, because he used playing cards and he would shoot them out and blow shit up with them. But yeah, I was always attracted to him. And then when I just felt like this calling to start, diving into it and doing all that, playing cards was it. And I love the fact that playing cards are very unassuming. You could be somewhere, even in public, and not that I care anymore, but if you got playing cards laid out, nobody really cares versus if you have these big ass tarot cards or something like that. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm not knocking tarot, but
right.
Just to me, it's just, yeah, that's another reason why it's so attractive to me.
Somebody pointed something out to me recently, like within the last couple of months, that and I'm gonna get back to your channel in a second. Somebody pointed out that there was this basically a B movie with Pinky, my favorite porn star.
I would have to agree with you on that.
I know you did. I love me some Pinky.
And I usually go dark chocolate all the time, but
All right, but it's this movie that Pinky's in, and it's not a well-known movie, and it's a hood movie or urban movie or whatever you want to call it. Love is Blind. And the guy that Pinky was fucking with was used playing cards. He was using.
Now I gotta check it out, man. You mentioned two big things there. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta check that out.
Exactly. That's why
actually, I should say 3 if you count, But anyway.
Right. But it's called Love is Blind. It's on YouTube, as a matter of fact. And
okay.
Like I said, it's a gangster type, urban type movie, but the guy uses playing cards when he wants to answer. This I don't use playing. This the deck we was talking about. But yeah, check out.
Beautiful deck, man. That is a beautiful deck. I mean, I fell in love with you when you was doing my reading with it, because he gave me a reading many years ago, several years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. But check that movie out, Love is Blind.
Definitely.
And what is it that you do on your channel? The most accurate?
For the most part right now, I do what I call cardoscopes, which is like a taroscope. So I give out it's a way that I can give out, you know, free readings, if you will. I hate that word too, because it's coming. I'm reading this so much so than this, but yeah. So I basically give out free readings here for all the zodiac signs and stuff like that. So it's a way that I could touch a plethora of people. You know what I'm saying? With one shot, you know. So
okay. Now I saw your last video, and you said something about, you said I'm an alchemist, and I could pretty much use anything. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe, you know what? One of my favorite martial art, well, my favorite martial artist, Bruce Lee. I'm pretty sure you can concur with that. I'm pretty sure you also enjoyed kung fu movies in your youth as well. But you know, his whole philosophy on things and the whole Jeet Kune Do about stripping away that which doesn't matter now, especially just things that don't matter, like what is the most effective, and that differs from individual to individual. So I feel that you have to be able to use whatever modality that you need to. So if you need to, you know, work with some demons or some palos, or, you know, create your own servitors, or whatever, some angels, some saints, you name it, some ancestors, whatever, like whatever you have to do, you need to be able to flow with it, like be like water, my friend, you know. So that's basically yeah, that's
okay.
I don't believe in getting stuck or polarized in anything. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the video that I'm referring to is you did a quick money spell recently, and I tuned into that. I'm an alchemist, and I can do it. I'm like, yeah, we had this discussion many times. You use servitors a lot?
Yeah. Or? Oh, yeah.
Experiences?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, one of my main servitors, well, back when I should say, was just to, you know, if I'm somewhere, like, you know, to get some of these broads, you know what I'm saying? Like if I was, you know, why not hedge your bets as best as you can? I know it's slow magic, but I don't give a fuck.
Nah.
You know, it's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with slow magic.
Because if your heart is asking for it, it's for a reason. Well,
right.
brother. Yeah. So yeah, I mean a lot of that, a lot of defensive ones too. I've always believed in having like a firewall as opposed to having to take action if somebody's trying to you know, perpetrate something on me. I like to have a firewall of defense and stuff like that. So I kind of like, I don't have to even think about it, you know. And you know, I've done some nefarious shit. Okay, come on. We all have, right? We all grown here, right, people? I mean, I'm talking with Mr. Magic. I ain't got to clarify with him because we already know. But yeah, I've had to do nefarious shit, and you know, make some friends to go talk to some friends. You know what I mean? For me. So
I remember a couple years ago you had a problem.
Yeah.
And you resolved that problem, and you showed me the pictures. I was like, "Whoa, that's the way to go. That's some diabolical shit." But it worked. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I'm way past that love everybody bullshit, because I tell my students all the time, if somebody is trying to hurt you physically or magically, you have every right to defend yourself. Fuck, somebody else is going to do it. You're supposed to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I'm way past that.
Absolutely.
I used a servitor one time, and I'm going to relate this story real quick. I sent my servitor on this person who was trying to get me fired from this job, and he was doing his damnness. He was a suck up and everything. I sent my servitor to feed off his energy, and next thing you know, he had a heart attack. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay, well, that worked. So I didn't mean for that to happen, but then again, I didn't care either. So I think
exactly. So you know, I believe that, you know, there's a time and a place for everything, and sometimes you have to, you know, alter and manipulate circumstances. How
Right.
you see fit.
And I think we have a question from Gold Mine Graves. Why does magic choose you?
Huh?
I
Why
said, I
does
think
magic choose?
it's why does magic choose you? Back to what Shango said earlier, that, you know, how did you put it? Like it's you gravitated because you
There's
did it before.
something within. Yeah, I think that there's
Mhm.
something within you that is calling or wants to, you know, be expressed, and so it will attract different things to you that you're attracted to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So whether that's a different form of magic or a particular entity or whatever have you, you know, a hobby, a craft, whatever, you know.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
think that's what it is. It's really you choosing it, or, you know, it might appear to look like it's choosing you,
Right.
but it's always going to come back to the self, you know.
Right. Right. Your self, their higher self, so to speak.
Your
And
divinity. Yeah. Yeah.
another question from Tamana. Do you believe that spells can be done on any day? Some say you have to do on a specific day.
That's a good question. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of look at it like this. I'm going to answer that in two parts. Number one, I'll say yes. Okay. But number two, um, it's like if I'm going to go outside, I want to know kind of what the weather's like so I know how to dress. I mean, it'd be stupid to just wear a tank top all year round or to wear a hoodie with the fur all year round. And what I mean by that is it's good to know, you know, what moon phase you're in. Relating this to the weather analogy, what moon phase you're in, what day it is, if you want to get really specific, what planetary hour, you know, and so forth, you know. Why not if you can do your magic in ways and on days that are, you know, more conducive to whatever your intention is, then why not ride with the current as opposed to, you know, sometimes it feels like you got to, you know, try and swim against it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think also how you particularly feel about it is going to influence also your effects. Because if you believe that you're doing something wrong, it's not going to work because I'm not doing it on Tuesday, then you might have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take that into consideration too, because you could do everything, have everything just right, the right candle, the right herbs, be on the right day and the right hour, and the shit'll flop because you really don't believe it's going to happen. You know what I mean? So all that shit only carries so much weight. But I do believe it can assist. Like energetically, we want to know, you know, you want to know the climate at right now, energetically. What are the influences going on right now? You know what I'm saying? Uh sometimes I mean it makes more sense to do shit while the moon is waxing versus when it's waning. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do when the fuck you gotta do it. So fuck the moon. You know what I'm saying? Right? I mean, ain't you had those experiences where it's like, man, I got to
Yeah.
do it. Fuck that shit right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, I tell people that if you want to use, like, today's Thursday for prosperity, you can use that. But if you got an emergency and you need a Mars day, if you can't do it in a Mars hour, then you just got to do what you got to do.
just
I
gotta do what you
mean,
gotta do, man.
fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, I think people that's really beginning start to think that it's so regimented and rigid that you have to stick to this thing. I say do it in the beginning, yeah. But if you got an emergency, like somebody's attacking you or something, man, fuck, wait until Tuesday to do it or Saturday.
You you made a good point right there too. You said like in the beginning, and I think it's important to kind of get your foundationals on deck. You know what I'm saying? Like have some type of foundation of some kind. You know, some type of basic fundamental foundation to work off of. It's almost like when you learn music, it's tedious. You gotta learn the notes and shit. But after you know that, now you can freestyle. You ain't got to do all that but you're still using the foundation. But now you're flipping it however you want to.
Great.
I think it is important. Yeah. It's important to get
I didn't mean
sometimes.
to cut you off, but
No, you
all I
good.
was going to say was that was a great explanation of that. Very great.
Thank you, Sal.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are times where I have to do some wicked shit. I'm not gonna wait till Saturday, which is Saturn, which is banishing day for me. Or I'm not gonna wait till Tuesday. I'm just gonna go into my ritual space, use my candles, and do whatever I got to do. Or I go to a graveyard, whatever I got to do, I do. You know, but like you
I
said,
wanted to add on to something like that too. Now, if you are too concerned with the little details as far as the day, or I can't do this, that means to me that you are too much in your conscious mind. Your conscious mind ain't going to do shit for you. You know what I'm saying? So there, yes, there is, you can use that. But if you're too much in your head, even while you're doing the ritual, I don't know, is this working? I don't know if this is the right time. I don't know, am I doing this right? Am I saying this ain't gonna work? Fuck, I don't know. Like, do you really expect your ritual or spell to be successful if you got all that shit going on in your head? Like, at that time, I don't know, man, this is Saturn's hour and I'm trying to do some money shit and this ain't gonna work, man. This ain't gonna work. You know, it's like it's there's a time and a place, but you have to also be like, hey, like, just you know, fuck it, this is what it is, let me get into this, you know. So
right, exactly. I want to take the time to answer a question. It says, I like the goddess Sekhmet. Do you know what types of things she likes and what days of the week are good to work with her?
you want to take that, brother Magic? I mean, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I was just going to say, in my opinion, I would say that Google is your best friend. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? It's not just about somebody telling you something, but you might go and search for something and happen upon some other information and draw to you some other information. Your higher, I hate even using that term too, your higher self could draw some other shit that you need to hear while you're searching on Google. It's like shit happens just that simply. But if you just, you know, so anyways, let me just stop right there and just say, if you want to know that, I would go down the Google rabbit hole and see what you come up with. You know what I mean? Along with, of course, your own intuition. You might be intuitively inspired to do some shit on a Wednesday, or whatever, and use you know, a certain herb or certain incense or whatever. Like, if that's what is really permeating within you, follow that shit.
Right. A lot of
There's
people
a reason.
don't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I just said there's a reason for that. So yeah.
Right. A lot of people don't put much value into their own intuition. You know. And that was the same thing I was going to say. I was going to say, you know, Google the goddess Sekhmet. Look at the myth. In order to know about these deities versus, like Shango said, versus what we tell you or any occultists tell you, do the research, do a Google search on, read the mythology, there's a lot to learn from it. There's always facts in the mythology. These are not fairy tales. You know what I'm saying? If they were fairy tales, why did the ancients have such great civilizations? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to me that people still think that these are children's stories or something. No, there's some facts to those mythologies. I don't know much about the goddess Sekhmet, honestly, because I've not worked with her like that. The only time I've worked with her like that was I did a visualization for protection, and that worked really well. And I got that suggestion from watching a Bobby Hemmett lecture. That's about the only thing I've done.
Okay,
but I
got something right now that just came to me for whoever that was.
Okay.
And if you are a woman, use your menstrual cycle blood. Okay. And if you're not, then if you have access to that, I would, but blood is key, or using the menstrual blood for that particular person, you know, I feel like it's going to be, can be, but I don't know if they're ready for that though. But I'm gonna tell you something else too, a tip. And I'm gonna give you an example. Not, you know, we don't want to just rely on Google. Is you can intuitively channel some shit, write that shit down, and then go research. Because what's going to end up happening is, a lot of times you're going to have confirmation for what you knew already before you went and Googled the shit. You know what I mean? So that's happened to me plenty of times. I'll already have my own whatever, and then I'll just do the due diligence and follow up, because I am a researcher as well. So and then I'll invariably find, like, oh my man, shit, I already knew this shit. Like, this shit was like, okay, but to like confirm, but it's always good to have that confirmation too. You know what I mean? From the outside world, that, you know, so I mean, it just helps you to be even more confident, you know what I'm saying, in your shit.
Right.
So that's another tip
And
for that person.
okay. And also another tip that just came to my mind was that also cross-reference certain deities, because some deities became other deities. What I mean by
Yes.
that is that some civilizations, gods, when some civilizations were conquered, their gods became other gods. You see what I'm saying? They, like, for instance, Ishtar became Inanna. This became Astaroth in the Goetia, and they made it male. You see what I'm saying? So doing your due diligence with the research, like Shango said, is just absolutely paramount. You know.
You know what? It's funny because, like, I'm gonna tell you, and also be open to synchronicities. Okay, I'm gonna give you a good example, a little story. Okay, I started, I don't know why I started getting attracted to genie, the jinn, and stuff like that. Lo and behold, right after that shit, was like, hey man, you work with jinn? You might want to check out a certain book. And he, you know, referenced the book for me. And, you know, I was like, well, I'll try one of these out. You know what I mean? I don't mind, you know, using somebody. I don't always got to channel my own and shit. Like, okay, I'll do it. So I went in this bathroom, dark bathroom, and I did the ritual for this one particular jinn. And I asked it what its name was, and it told me. So about a day or two later, I was thinking about it. I'm like, let me see if I Google this jinn's name. I'm not going to say the name of the jinn, but let me see if I can Google this jinn's name and see what it was. Now, mind you, this was for finances, for money. Okay. So I Googled the jinn's name, and this mantra for wealth, an Arabic mantra for wealth at that, popped up. And lo and behold, this motherfucking jinn's name is a part of that mantra. And I had no previous knowledge of that, what the fuck soever. So once again, that's another form of like research. So if you want to just, you know, it never hurts to just, you know, Google some or research some, or if you got some good books, reference material that you can, you know, rifle through or whatever when you need to, do it. You know what I mean? So that was just like another wink from the jinn world, you know, in that particular case anyway. But yeah.
Okay. Great. I just did a project for someone and they have not paid me. They keep not responding. I've never done a spell like this before. Do you have any suggestions? Any suggestions for that? This is a woman I know.
Okay. I sometimes have to quiet down. One time I got money back from somebody on somebody else's behalf. And I actually used something as simple as salt, you know what I mean, to extract the money from one party to the other and to give it to the other. Okay. Now that's not really typical. There'd probably be other questions that I would ask about that. Do you have any other suggestions about that?
Pay me spell. I would think of, yeah, pay me spell, a dominating or controlling spell with a purple candle with calamus or mullein herb and some commanding type oil with petition paper and a Mars sigil. And it's just coming to me as I'm thinking about it. Say that
also,
again.
though, too, I was gonna say, besides Google, you know, if you you're kind of in a bind and you need to like, and maybe you're more visual and you want to see something, you can also YouTube shit and just to get ideas or inspiration. Not maybe not necessarily to do exactly what you see, but if you're kind of improvisational as well, you can also use that to get some inspiration. It's always good to see how other people do shit, I think. You know what I mean? I love watching other people work. I get so inspired by
Mhm.
so many different practitioners and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that would also help to ramp up the creativity, and also you might find something that's like that really sticks out to you, and it's like, yes, do this one, and then you'll
Right.
know to do that one. So
Right. Right. I do the same thing. I'm in this 20 years now, and I still watch other people. I watch you. I watch Crystal,
yeah, me too.
um,
I watch
as Shara
everybody.
Star Goddess, and a host of other people. I still do my own thing,
Absolutely.
but I watch
Yeah.
other people.
Mm.
It's the same thing with poetry. One of the
Hmm.
ways that I honed my craft with that one was to read about other poets and saw their different style. But I created my own different style. So it's the same thing with magic.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
do you so you live a magical life pretty much?
That's yeah. I mean, at one point in time, that's basically I survived off my magic, like
Mm.
in every form, like physically to keep myself out of harm's way, because I was in a I may do the Shango story one day on YouTube or whatever. I don't know. It's still very there was a lot of shit I went through, and I had to use magic to evade law enforcement and a host of other things. So yeah, I kind of there was one point in time where I will share this very very briefly. I was ins- and that's the point in time that was like my cocoon where I really got into the dark side, as they say, and literally my physical life mirrored that as well, because I was living in the dark, because where I was at I was not supposed to be, so I couldn't turn on no lights or no shit like that. So everything I did was in the dark. I worked out in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was in the dark. I ate in the dark, did magic in the dark. So that was a very dark period for me, in every sense to the fucking word. So yeah, I call that my
Okay.
cocoon days.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay. Have you ever done the intranquility spell? Have you ever done anything like that?
in tranquility, I've done some in tranquility work,
Mhm.
but not too much. You know what I mean? I'm very picky with a lot of the cases or anything that I choose to do. I don't judge it from a financial standpoint first and foremost, even though sometimes it's difficult. You know what I'm saying? But I prefer now, just at this stage, to where, because when I first started, all I was doing was like nefarious shit and like fucking with people or uh, you know. So I did a lot of shit, and I done banged up a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? But there was just this one moment where everything kind of like the lights came on, and it's like, look, man, you've been doing all this shit, all this magical shit to like sustain this. Why not use it to like be productive and to like make your shit go forward and like do more productive shit? So I consciously choose to, more a part of more things that are more productive as far as the way I look at it. You know what I mean? So
So
um
you've grown.
yes, I guess you could, that's a better way to put it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
you've
definitely
grown.
grown. I've grown, and it's kind of lost it's lost its luster to me. As far as just like fucking somebody up or whatever, like so many different perspectives you can look at a situation now, reaching for your hammer, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah.
Okay. And you do client work, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
I do client work.
And for people who don't know, why don't you give them your website?
Okay, it's www.shango SHANGO dash REI, so shango-ray.com. And you can find out everything you need to know there. Or go to youtube.com/Shango Rei, and you can also peep my channel out. So I've been giving out. I swore it off for a while. I'm like, I ain't giving out no goddamn magical advice. Like, the game is to be, you know, you've heard it before, you know, right? The game. I agree with that, you know, to a large extent, you know, but I had to change of heart. So I'm like, hey, you know,
Don't give out. So in other words, you can't give out all your secrets.
Oh, hell no.
Like that,
I would
right?
never. I would never.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
How do you feel about that, by the way, real fast? As far as like, I mean, because I know a lot of us have all gotten some knowledge from somebody on YouTube. Not all of it, but you know.
I know, you know, and I'm not being braggadocious when I say this. I know a lot of shit, and I reserve that for students. Everything is not meant for everybody either, because I feel like the ancients, they spoke in code, they wrote in code, and they always warned about mentally unstable people, because you got people around here, I'm not gonna say his name.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Just want to fight everybody magically just because somebody on somebody else's channel may laugh at them. You see what I'm saying? This has happened before. And I think me and Terrain of the Royal Bloodline, we spoke about this recently. Like, how you insult your clients? How do you just attack people for no good reason? A magical battle should be something at the highest levels, like your life is threatened or something like that. But I'm getting, you know, away from what I was originally going to say. It's not, everything's not meant for everybody, and you got too many shit. You can scroll down your Facebook page timeline and see how fucked up people are.
Man, go to your fucking inbox. You know, some of the questions that some people ask is just kind of like, man. I just gotta swerve them from the get, like, cause I can't, I don't got time for that.
Right.
It's no disrespect to anybody, but goddamn, you know what I'm saying? Shit, you know what I'm talking about. So
yeah, I mean, I had some woman ask me one time. This woman took her husband from her, and she wanted me to put spirits to haunt this woman. I'm like, I'm not doing that. No, fuck off with that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and then I'll pay you. No, fuck you. No, I'm not doing that.
And that's another reason why I think you should do divination, because a lot of people are going to come to you, especially if you get into this line of work. There's going to be a lot of people coming to you, and their mouth is just going to overflow with bullshit. It's just because they're lying to you, because they're trying to manipulate you to use you for their own purposes. So it's like,
right. That's not something that was, in my opinion, I'm not the authority, but that wasn't worthy of a magical attack on this woman. No, maybe your husband maybe wasn't giving enough head or something. You know what I'm saying, or something. I don't know.
But what was, you know, you got to ask, what was your part in this? Because, you know, everybody wants to play. Everybody will play the victim. You know, let them tell it.
Right.
And I'm not saying that people haven't been done wrong, but goddamn, you know, it's like,
you know what I'm saying. I don't have any. I don't abide by any man-made morals, but
that was your spirit telling you. That was your spirit saying, no, like that. You know what I'm saying? That was clear and simple. Like if you'd have felt that green light, like go ahead, do that.
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
I don't even got a fucking no cards. You'll feel that shit right here. Like, nah, go ahead.
Yeah.
But, no, you know what? Mental illness, you know, and you know, in this line of work, you are bound to run into plenty of it, you know, in all its forms.
Absolutely.
You have to be
careful. I'm gonna take one. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I said I was going to just take. All right. I'm gonna take these last two questions, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
Okay. I know you're a busy man. I got some work to do too. When using menstrual blood, do you have to have a sigil, or do you have to use a sigil or symbol?
I don't know. I mean, just not too many have tos that I really
Right.
subscribe to. Now,
Right.
if you are using a sigil, one of the best things you can use for that, in my opinion, is sigil. I mean, excuse me, sigil blood, sigil blood. Yeah, which is menstrual blood. But yeah, or put spill some kids on it if you're a man. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like those things are very, very like super potent, super
Right.
potent. So
Right.
you can use your menstrual blood without having to use a sigil, and you can use a sigil without having to use your menstrual blood. But they do work good together. So I wouldn't say that you have to, but it's a good idea in my opinion. I think it works good.
I agree. I totally agree. I've used both. Um, so don't
Yeah.
ask me how I got the menstrual blood. I mean, obviously, obviously it didn't come from me, but I've done both.
Hey, that
Yeah,
shit is super potent. That's like some
yeah,
what's that shit? Plutonium, like Back to the Future shit. You know what I mean? Put some
yeah,
plutonium in that shit. Like, yeah.
yeah. I what was I gonna say? Oh, I lost my thought. I don't like doing that. I really don't like doing that.
Brain fart.
It was about menstrual blood. Oh, remember, a lot of people don't put any weight into Aleister Crowley. But the Book of the Law says in it, the best blood is of the moon, monthly. It's talking about menstrual blood. Right there.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Yes.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's
And
the
the last,
evolution of
go ahead.
too. I'm sorry. That's the evolution of things. Like back when, for whatever reason, culturally or whatever, not like a lot of times women weren't allowed to do this or that because they're menstrual blood, but yet we would kill certain animals or do whatever, you know what I'm saying? But now you can use your blood in place of, and that really honestly trumps all that shit, in my opinion, to some degree. Now, sometimes there may be a case, like I'm not against all that other stuff too, if need be, but
Mhm.
some drink the Kool-Aid, all right? Drink the Kool-Aid.
Right, right. Yeah, I did something stupid one time using blood for productive things, and it went the exact opposite. But that's when I was first learning how to use it. I was like, oh, okay. You use menstrual blood or your blood period for negative, so-called negative work. You use your life fluid, semen, for positive work. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it works for me. I mean, somebody else may use blood for a good purpose. I don't recommend that, but hey, experiment.
Try it, try it.
Yeah.
And I think, do you think it depends on whose menstrual blood it is? You know?
Yeah. 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 Because if we talk about somebody that's mentally unstable and just flat out psychotic, then shit, you're
What
gonna have
if
some
what if they're
disastrous results.
what if they're not necessary? And I hate using that term. I'm not gonna get all no tep on everybody or whatnot, but what if they're not on the level, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, because that really is a shitty term too. But what if they're just not conscious in any type of way as far as all this spiritual shit goes, and they are, what is your opinion about that? Maybe they're not mentally ill, but then again, I don't know, if you ain't conscious, that could also be I don't know.
But it could also be determined by that person's diet, the way they think. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
exactly.
All magic depends on the practitioner, in my opinion. So that goes,
Uh-huh.
this is the same thing as a hoe. Let's take a hoe for example. Somebody who sleeps with anybody and everybody. All right. When she sleeps with a lot of men, she's taking on the DNA of all those men. That's why I
Yeah.
see a lot of people who don't protect themselves and are loose like that. The women, they kind of off
Mhm.
because they don't
They
know.
got so much. They got their DNAs have been
Right,
altered and affected by all that other DNA and shit in
right,
there from all the other
right,
J cats and shit.
right.
Invariably, they got tons of J cat jizz up in that shit. So like
Right.
You know. Yeah, you
All
know.
right. And this question was from Priscilla. She says, any advice for those looking to transition into client work?
Good question. You know, um, in my opinion, I would say that number one is things is just to get started. Now, of course, you're going to have to market yourself and do all that stuff, and use whatever channels you have to get the word out, because you could be the best magician, wizard, sorcerer, but if nobody knows about you, you're going to starve. So that's a very important part in this day and era, like getting the word out. Attention is now the new currency. So I'm saying that I'm just give you a quick example too. In Japan, they have these soda machines now. You walk up to the soda machine and you press the button, and instead of you putting money in, now this is just to illustrate where shit is going. Okay, back to the whole mental shit again too. But you, instead of putting money in, you press the button and it plays a commercial for you. Soda. So after you watch the commercial, then you get the soda. So I'm telling you, who paid for that soda is the person who put that commercial on there. So they want your attention. Where attention goes, what's the old occult axiom? Where attention goes, energy flows, right? So you have to be able to market yourself. So no matter what type of business you're in, whether you're a gardener, fucking magician, stripper, whatever, like you got to be able to market yourself. You could just do candle spells and then just like everything's just going to work out. Maybe you can, but it didn't work that way for me. I had to start finding and experimenting ways also with getting the word out about you and your business. So that's just some regular mundane advice. But the other advice I would have is just, there's only one way, and that's just to start. You have to start, and you can't be self-conscious that you're not good enough, or maybe nobody gave you permission. Who do you think you are? You're going to hear that voice in your head too. So, everybody does when they first start out. So even doubt will try and creep in as you're down the road too, but still, I'd say is to get started. You can get started. Obviously, there's other ways like Facebook and stuff like that. Like that's just a way you can start. I don't really suggest it, but I mean, doing free shit. I stop with the free shit, like, because it's just, as far as like, but the point is, that's my main advice, is to get started doing it in whatever way that you can start, even if it's in person. I started off in person. Okay. And I'm shit. I still can go back to that. I can go into a coffee shop and hand out business cards. Here you go. I just want to give you that. Have a nice day. They look at the business card. Oh, next thing you know, a couple minutes later. So do you have a seat? You know what I'm saying? So it depends on you and your gumption. You know what I'm saying? What you think you could do.
I remember you telling me that, yeah, he's absolutely right. I remember when he first started, he was doing tarot readings, well, playing card readings in a coffee shop. And I was like, wow, that's good marketing right there. That was just smart as hell, in my opinion. And for me, I built up my magical foundation first and foremost. Before I started doing work for other people, I had to make sure I could do it for my damn self first. So
that's like, actually, yeah, you know what? You just corrected me on that one, because that is actually number one, because you also have to be confident about what you do. And you ain't going to have that confidence if you can't affect that change in your own life. You're going to feel like a fraud if you do. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
And that's going to show through. That's going to come through in your aura, in your energy too. So
it took me 15 years in the game before I started taking on clients. And then you also got to realize you're going to get all kinds of crazy shit coming to you, people coming to you with crazy shit, asking you to learn how to transport, like Harry Potter. That actually happened. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? He was dead serious, but
see, that's why I prefer the information aspect of it. You know what I mean? And that's why I chose more or less that way, even though as far as on a business level, you can start to scale kind of fast by doing magical workings, because you can charge. Some of us are getting, you know, 4 figures or whatever to do something, you know, 4 figures, or at least a high mid 3 figures, you know what I'm saying, to start.
Right,
I mean,
right.
but and there's some that are getting even more. There's some, I mean, best believe those are the best kept secrets though, especially some for these financial institutions and, you know, whatever. I mean, we're talking 4, 5, 6 figures depending.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't want to deal with all that shit. You know, I feel like I'm back in my
Right.
days when I used to you know, sell drugs and shit. I eventually got tired of the clientele. I'm like, man, I need to start selling weed and deal with some normal people. You know what I'm saying? Like my whole day was just crackhead, my base heads and shit. You know, I'm like, God damn,
Right.
I'm in The Walking Dead. Like, I need to get out of here. Like, fuck. We ain't gonna hang together at no other time. We have no other reason to
Right.
speak but this, and that's
Right.
yeah.
And another thing is to, you know, be aware. Priscilla Simone is the one who asked this question. I'm still answering it. Be aware that people are going to want quick and immediate results. And I have to constantly tell people it does not work. There's too much fucking TV in Hollywood that you're looking at. It is magic does not happen overnight like that, especially when you're doing something for somebody else in another goddamn city, state, or country. You see what I'm saying? So
It can, but most likely it will not. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thanks for the correction. Thanks for
yeah,
the correction.
it can, but just to think that's the gold standard and everything is just going to always pop up in, you know, 24 hours and shit. That's just not even intelligent in any form of fashion. You know, it's just
right. And this is why divination comes into play, because some clients are not going to reveal the whole truth to you and will reveal certain facts they should have told you in the beginning. I'm still having to deal with that shit. I'm like, okay, motherfucker, didn't you think I would have liked to have known that before we even started this? You know, I actually went off on a client. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not proud because I don't do that. But I mean, I'm trying to get, you know, do this work, and then they reveal important facts after the fact, and I'm like, really?
Oh, you
got me down.
You conveniently left that shit out, huh? Okay.
Right. Exactly. So hope we answer that question. Microwave ass magic. Oh, there's Amy. Hi. What's up, Amy?
Amy, aka the beaded babe on Instagram.
Oh yeah, that is her name. This is it.
Fire. She's another magi that I really appreciate. Just her perspective on things.
Right. Yeah. She's one of the most realest women I know. All right. Yeah. So did you have any final thoughts, Mr. Shango Rei?
Everybody out there, I would just like to encourage you to ditch the fears and to walk down your individual paths, which are all going to be different. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of people that, because I get a lot of questions about that still, like the whole, like there's some sky daddy out there that's going to punish you if you say the wrong thing or mispronounce this word, or, you know, whatever the case is. And that's just kind of, I see it holding a lot of people up, you know, fear, the fears, and, you know, there's really nothing to fear but fear itself, as the great Bobby Hemmett would often say, you know. So
right.
Yeah, get busy working on your shit.
Right. So I'd like to thank Mr. Shango Rei for being here with me today. And before we sign off,
thank you for having
me. Absolutely, man, I enjoyed this chat. And if you would just give, I'm gonna put your information in the information box, but before we go, just kind of reintroduce yourself and give your information for people who want to contact you.
Okay. Shango Rei here. Intuitive counselor. Not counselor, but intuitive consultant, actually, and intuition access expert, because we all have intuition, but many of you have problems. Intuition. That's where I kind of just come in like a computer tech and boop, 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 and see what's going on. So for consultations, readings, any magical work or whatever, you can find me at www.shango-rei. That's SHANGO-REI.com. And that's it.
All right. Okay. And we got to do this again sometime, brother. And
Absolutely.
thanks again for having me, for
Thank you
being here. I
man.
mean,
Shit.
and thanks.
I'm gonna give the namaste, you know, because usually I don't know if you heard. I was listening. There's another lecturer. I don't, but goes by the name of Brother Panic. He had some funny shit talking about humus day because a lot of these motherfuckers want to stay human. So it's like humus day. I'm not even gonna tell you namaste. I thought that shit was hilarious. So I'm gonna give you the namaste though. So yeah.
Namaste. Namaste, brother. Stay magical. We keeping magical, and we see y'all next time. Thanks for y'all that tuned in, and find the brother Shango Rei on Facebook, and he does,
I'm on YouTube too.
work.
It's just YouTube Shango Rei. I'm there's only one, so you can find me there too if you want your, some free material information. So
Okay. All right, y'all. We out of here. Peace.
y'all, peace.